you little dirty mouth, face, mouth. I can't even get through it. It's just so stupid. Hello, everybody. Today we're talking about one of the easiest scenes to completely screw up in your writing. Sex scenes. A bad sex scene will ingrain itself into the reader's mind. There are terrible sex scenes that are branded on my brain. I'm scarred for life. So I felt it was necessary to tell you exactly what not to do when writing a sex scene because I don't need any more trauma. And I'm pretty sure other readers feel the same way. I am listing the 10 worst sex scene tropes in fiction. These tropes are insanely common and it makes no sense because they suck. I saved the best one for last. Well, the best at being the worst. You know what I mean. Before we dive in, I just wanted to quickly thank everyone for the well wishes. You probably know that I've been on hiatus for a few weeks because Cliff is going through a really bad flare-up and he is in the hospital. His back is completely fine for everyone who is wishing him healing vibes for his back. Nothing wrong with the back, it is all CRPS. He's actually still at the hospital right now, or at least at the time that I'm filming this video, but he is improving and we are hoping that he will be able to come home soon. But Jenna, don't rush to YouTube on our behalf. Go take care of your man. Bitch, I'm not rushing for you. I got medical bills to pay. So here I am. I'm gonna film a bunch of videos and then scoodoodle on back to the hospital and see my man. I also wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone who participated in the Trevor Project fundraiser. In honor of Mental Health Awareness Month, back in May, I held a huge fundraiser for the Trevor Project. A ton of you participated. This was the final amount that we were able to earn, and honestly, it completely surpassed all of my expectations. I was so blown away by your generosity. 100% of the proceeds are going to the Trevor Project to support queer youths. That means every dime, every penny, all of it is going to a great cause. On top of that, 16 lucky donors were selected to win prizes as a thank you for their generosity. They have all been contacted, so if you participated in the Trevor Project and you haven't checked your email lately, go check, you might be a winner. Now that we've got the wholesome announcements covered, let's get into the sex. A couple disclaimers before we get started. I will obviously be talking about sex, so if you're not an adult or you're not comfortable with adult content, go away, this is not for you. And 2, trigger warning, I will be talking about sexual assault several times throughout this video. Unfortunately, we cannot talk about shitty sex scenes without talking about predatory characters because writers are the worst and I hate them so much. If that is a trigger for you, totally understandable, but maybe skip this video for now. For everyone else who is still here, be sure to subscribe to my channel and ring that bell. I post videos on Wednesdays, sometimes I've got bonus content on Mondays. It's awesome. We have a good time here. Subscribe. Help me pay my bills, please. And if you're a fan of #1 best-selling dark fantasy romance novels, be sure to check out my series, The Savior series, featuring the Savior's Champion and the Savior's Sister. They're all available in hardback, paperback, ebook, and audiobook. I have them listed below. Give them a read. They're awesome. They're amazing. And I don't do any of these horrible sex scene things in those books, I promise. On to the 10 worst sex scene tropes in fiction. Are you excited? Probably not, because none of this shit is good. Number 1, injury sex. I'm a badass warrior, but oh no, I just got stabbed. Thank God I've got this hot nurse to bandage me up, but all this blood is making me horny. Good thing I can totally bang her hours after suffering a near fatal injury. Logic. Unless your character has super healing abilities, they should not be able to have sex, or at least aggressive sex, right after getting a serious injury. Broken ribs, deep gashes, bullet holes, severe burns. These are not injuries you can shrug off while pounding your partner into oblivion. And I'm pretty sure that most people, even people with pain fetishes, are not rock hard when they're in total agony. I think the pain from a nipple clamp is not quite the same as that of internal bleeding. Number 2, tragedy sex. My best friend, sibling, or parent just died, and I'm so distraught. You know what would help me in my time of need? Penetration. Tragedy sex, which is sex that occurs directly after the death of a character, is very common in fiction, and writers usually try to rationalize it by saying that the character in mourning needs a distraction. Some people may do this in real life, but it's typically described as emotional denial and pretty toxic. Yet in fiction, it's written to be romantic. Quite often, it's the first time the main couple has sex. Their first sexual encounter is a distraction from impending doom and misery. Sex scenes are supposed to be swoon-worthy or sensual or hot, and tragedy sex is none of these things. It's awkward to transition from death to ding-dongs. It feels out of place and completely inappropriate. No one wants to imagine your character being turned on at a funeral, I promise. Number 3, acrobatic sex. I completely understand that some people are more flexible than I am. Actually, most people are more flexible than I am, but that's besides the point. If you're writing a sex scene that is so acrobatic, I have to read it more than once just to grasp the positioning, I'm no longer tantalized or titillated, I'm just confused. I once read a sex scene 3 times, and I still didn't understand what was going on. Either someone was suspended in the air, or they were quadruple jointed, or maybe the author just doesn't understand human anatomy. The thing about sex is, it feels good, so you don't gotta add a ton of bells and whistles to make it a good time. If you feel like you gotta add a ton of convoluted acrobatics to make the sex scene interesting, maybe you're just not that good at writing sex. Number 4, do you trust me? If a character says this right before a sex scene, I guarantee they should not be trusted. Do you trust me is emotional blackmail, and every sex scene that I've read that began with do you trust me involved a character who was saying this because their partner was hesitating. That is predatory. Maybe instead say, we don't have to do this if you don't want to. That's reassuring and actually instills trust. To all people, real and fictional alike, if anyone says, do you trust me, right before boning, run. Number 5, he takes what he wants. Yet another popular line in fiction that aptly describes a rapist. You do realize that a man who takes what he wants when it comes to sex is the exact definition of a sex offender, right? I know you're trying to say he's dominant, but dominance and assault do not go hand in hand. Ask anyone in the BDSM community. They've got doms galore and they still preach clear and enthusiastic consent. And while he takes what he wants shows up a lot in fiction, sometimes it's reworded in other ways, like, if we continue, I'm not gonna be able to stop myself. That is not hot. If a man said that to me, I would pack up my shit and leave. Thanks for warning me you might assault me, you fucking nightmare. Writers, please stop including this in your sex scenes. It's not masculine, it's terrifying. Number 6, unprotected sex. How do you expect me to enjoy this sex scene when I am worrying the entire time that the character might get pregnant? Even if there's no sperm or egg involved, what if they get a rash? You don't know where that person's butt has been. I know you think protection is like a total mood killer, but so are babies. How are these characters gonna come in the midst of an anxiety attack? What if he doesn't pull out in time? I'm not ready to be a mom. You may be able to get through a sex scene without worrying about the shit, but I cannot. Just say your character wrapped it up and move on. Your readers will thank you. I will thank you. Number 7, splooge sex. There are people out there with full-on semen fetishes, and that's fine, I guess. But do we need so many sex scenes out there featuring long, graphic, disgusting descriptions of jizz? Gobs, puddles, pools, hot, thick, white, pearly. Why are you doing this to me? What did I do to deserve this torture? And what is it with people saying the jizz splashes out? It's not a wave, okay? Jizz does not splash. I just don't understand the need for any of this. Why does it exist? Please stop describing splooge. It's penis goo, not art, for the love of God. Number 8, Insta-sex. Hookup culture exists, and if you want to write about it, that's fine. However, a sex scene that takes time and and effort and longing and anticipation is way more effective than a sex scene that happens instantly. It's not gratifying to read sex between the main ship if it happens immediately. Sure, if they're hooking up, it makes sense. It's just not as enjoyable to read. But it's 10 times worse if the Insta-sex is combined with Insta-love. Insta-lust is a thing which can lead to Insta-sex, but Insta-love doesn't exist. You can argue with me, but you're wrong. If you're trying to convince me that these two complete strangers are suddenly madly in love and also making love, I'm just gonna think you're a tool, or a 12-year-old on Wattpad. Don't try to romanticize Insta-sex. We all know you're just horny. Number 9, surprise kink. Being kinky is fine, but you know when's a good time to tell your partner about your special little kink? Before you have sex with them, not in the middle of it. This is true in real life and in fiction. It's jarring to the reader when you randomly plop a kink into the middle of a sex scene. This is also true for extreme shifts in character. Yes, people behave differently during sex versus normal life. Sometimes the way they have sex is the polar opposite of their actual personality. But when writing a sex scene, you need to make sure the tonal shift isn't out of nowhere. It has to make sense. I once read a sex scene where everything leading up to that moment was romantic and warm. Then they start banging and the dude's dirty talk was so aggressive. Take that, you little dirty mouth, face, mouth. Where did that come from? Should I call the police? And last but certainly not least, number 10, romanticized sexual assault. Fuck. I'm not gonna linger on this point for too long because, well, I don't want to vomit. The world of fiction has been romanticizing rape culture for eons. It's not anything new. It just became a lot more apparent once the young adult community hopped on board. The main reasons this trope is the absolute worst is 1, readers are impressionable. You're basically teaching people that sexual assault is not only okay, it's swoon-worthy. 2, it's just plain gross. No one needs that shit in their lives. And 3, there is no such thing as non-consensual sex. Non-consensual sex is rape. Thanks, writers. I don't want to live on this planet anymore, and you're to blame. So that's all I got for you today. If you write any of these types of sex scenes, please understand unequivocally that I hate you so much. I lie awake at night, my mind flooded with horrors. Because of you. If you're considering writing a sex scene like this, please don't, and maybe get some therapy. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I post new videos on Wednesdays, and if you want to be alerted as soon as I upload, ring that bell. My #1 best-selling dark fantasy romance series, The Savior series, is out and about. You can get The Savior's Champion and The Savior's Sister in ebook, paperback, hardback, and audiobook. I have them linked below. And be sure to follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook, BookBub, and of course, you can tweet me at Jenna Moreci. Bye!
Oh, hello there. I'm Layla, and I'm off to a meeting with a senator. While you're here, why don't you subscribe to Jenna's channel and ring the bell? That way you'll always know when her videos go live. It's the perfect distraction. I mean, entertainment. Well, off I go. Ignore the blade. It's just for show. Bye!